be yourself. Like, being yourself is the best superpower I think you can be. And I think when you're in that space, I think a lot of people are too busy out chasing bags and things. And it's like, when you can find who you are, what are the things that motivate you, and then become really good at those things, the world will come to you.
What's good, familia? Welcome to Hella Latina podcast, where I hand the mic back to people, the first gens, the immigrants, the Latinos, the brown people, because if we don't tell our story, who will? But I'm excited to have you here.
My pleasure.
And for those who don't know you, who are you? What do you do? What's your purpose?
That's a loaded question.
I just threw that one at you.
My name is Daniel Ordóñez. I am a son, a brother, a man, a creator, a proud Latino, Afro-Latino. I'm born and raised in LA. I think that's where a lot of my identity lies, being from this city. I feel like being in LA, it's a melting pot, right?
Yeah.
So you take a little bit of everything. And
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of the city, is that you're able to rub shoulders with all walks of life. And I'm really grateful that I grew up in a place that took a lot of pride in our roots. And every aspect of what we did with our family and our traditions and that whole aspect and purpose. I mean, damn, legacy, like generational legacy, right? Like making my family proud, breaking barriers on multiple layers. Because I think, if I'm being honest, I think we all, especially first generation, I think we have a responsibility, right? To make our families proud and continue all the blood, sweat, and tears that came for them to be here, right? Like, I remember not super long ago, I want to say, God bless my grandma, she passed from COVID. But like a little bit after that, I started to really hear her story from my mom, and I didn't know all the things that she went through. She brought my entire family here. This lady came out here dolo and worked and hustled and was saving her cash, and just one tío after another, then my mom, then my aunts, and then like, so it's like she paved the way for us to have a better life. So to me, there's this like moral responsibility to make my family and the legacy that I come from extend that, but also create and pave new paths, right? For the future generations. Because I think like we have so many advantages being here.
So many.
Like we're really, really blessed, right? And I think what it really boils down to is recognizing those privileges, those things that are in front of us, and making sure we don't squander them. And so for me, it's like I see how they were raised. I see my mom is incredible. Like, she sacrificed everything for me to be where I'm at, literally off her back, right?
Yeah.
And I'm super proud of the man that I am. So to know that, and single mom at that. So to know that this little single mom, yeah.
Period. Shout out to your mom.
Exactly. I have everything I do is motivated by my mom. Like, that's like the core of my purpose. But to think that I am the man that I am, being raised by a single mom, I'm just like, I bow down. Like, she's an all-star, you know?
Wow.
So for me, it's like there's a chip on my shoulder. It's like, bro, like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. What are you going to do to represent for your people, for the Ordóñez family? Like, what are you going to do for the future generations? Like, what's the legacy that you're going to leave here on earth? Because ultimately, I feel like all our purpose here is to do better than the people before, right?
To evolve. We were talking about it.
Yeah.
Evolutionary psychology.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to ask you, because you talking about your grandma, like, I don't think we realize sometimes that our families are a museum, and they give us access to a different part of us that we just wouldn't otherwise know. Yeah. Like, and it makes us make more sense of us. I remember learning about my parents and their story, their immigration story, why they came here, how they came here. Yeah. I feel like it made sense. Like, my story is so rooted in theirs, and vice versa. Like, I am an extension of them, and they are a part of me. They're my museum. They're my grounding, you know, my foundation. And you having that privilege of knowing your grandma's story and how she immigrated or why she immigrated, that's power. And so I want to ask you if you can share that story with us. What does that immigration story look like on both sides? And how did Daniel come about?
I'll try to consolidate. There's a lot to unpack here. But yeah, grandma came here. So my mom is 65 and she came here when she was 18. She came here before. So my family's from El Salvador, my Latino side. Yeah, Salvatrucho.
Show America.
Let's go, baby. And my dad is Haitian. So I grew up with just my mom, but I got the other extension through family, friends, and all that. But from the Salvi side, my grandma came when my mom was like, an adolescent, and she was already planting the seeds for them to come here. And my mom immigrated here when she was 18. And my mom and my aunts, my family that all came here, they missed the revolution that happened. The war that was happening, which was absolute bloodshed.
Right.
Like, it's wild. My mom tells me stories about how her best friends all died. Like, all her friends that she would walk to school with, they all were murdered in some scenario situation. And she probably would have been one of them as well if she had stayed in El Salvador. And so it's that civil war really, demolished a lot of families and really, really created a lot of bloodshed. And so my grandma having the foresight of opportunity, of what's the future, how do we plan, how do we create more spaces for our family to grow, like literally saved how many people and how many generations. I would not be here had she not planted that seed. My mom came over, right? And then started her journey in America. And so it's like, it's really wild when you really peel the layers back. I like the context of a museum. But it really, for me, it paints the picture of this idea of thinking and planning for the future. You know what I mean? I think that's what my grandma did, right?
Did she know a revolution was coming, or did she was she already thinking about that before?
That's a great question. I'm not 100% sure if she knew, but I know that she wanted to come here for opportunities, like all immigrants, right?
Because there's a spiritual side to this. I was reading a paper, and I'm going to get this wrong. There's a source that I'll probably add to the show notes. But there's a study that showed that women, I think I've said on this before, women were the first ones to sense something was coming.
Interesting.
In dictatorships, for example, any dictatorship that has happened around Latin America or just the world, women lo presienten primero. And they're the ones that move or start to make a backup plan, right? We need something's coming, let's go. It's intuition. And I think that's what God blessed us with, it's
for
intuition.
Sure. Especially as mothers, as vessels of life.
Right. Yeah. It's part of that femininity that I think all of us have, but I think God gave us that wisdom too. And that's why I'm thinking did abuela know? Did she lo presentía, something's coming? And she was just I'm a plan for the future? Or was she just in that mode? Maybe it's both, but I don't know.
Yeah.
In a spiritual sense, I'm I like to believe she knew something was coming.
I'll ask her when I see her, but I don't know, directly. But I mean, I'm the intentions were good, right?
Right.
Opportunity, American dream, the endless possibilities that are here, right? She had been coming here, so for her, I think she saw what was possible. But I think for me and my mom, when my mom got here, she immediately she was married. She was in her first high school sweetheart. They got married here. So they met in El Salvador, married her high school sweetheart here, and then ended up living, that life. And she actually ended up becoming a cosmetologist, which is wild. We'll tie that circle later, which is really, really wild. Yeah. And so she does all that, ends up, she can't get pregnant with her first husband, causes tension, a rift in the relationship. Eventually they divorce. And then not even a year later, I think, she meets my dad, and Danielito's born. And he comes around. Yeah.
And he comes around.
Yeah, so.
And he's here.
Yeah, and so my mom, funny enough, when she was pregnant with me, she was going to school to be a cosmetologist. And there's photos of her at her graduation with her belly about to pop. And I'm born, and all my mom ever wanted to do was be a mom. That was her dream was to be a mother. That's why it caused such a tension in the relation in her first marriage, right? And so now that she had me, she's working on Sunset Plaza in West Hollywood, Beverly Hills area, doing hair, particularly women's color, and she's making bread but she would drop me off at the babysitter and pick me up at night. There was no time that we were spending because the job was like really labor intensive and time intensive, right?
Yeah.
So she just like, she had this dream of being a mother, but she couldn't be a mother anymore. Like her job took over her life. And like after a few years, I think like no more than like I was like 2 or 3 maybe. And she pivoted and started doing what my grandma did, was the old faithful housekeeping. And so she went and became a housekeeper so that she could have a more flexible schedule, so that she can, you know, have more autonomy with her life. Like instead of being somewhere from 9 to 9, she could actually, you know, kind of dictate her terms more as an independent contractor. And so she was making a great living and a great salary, but she sacrificed all that so that she could be with me. And mind you, then she would then go to, I remember preschool, kinder, she was a TA. So every day I would see my mama in class with me.
Stop.
And she was just like, yeah, she is such a champ. Like she was so, and later as an adult, we would talk and she was like, yeah, I was at the parent teacher, like the district
She's
meetings.
like, I'm going to be a mom.
Yeah. She was so invested in my education, so invested in the classrooms that I was in, so invested in like my future as a young person in this country. And all that eventually led me to I got accepted into the magnet program when I was a kid. I was first grade going into second. Mm-hmm. So I tested like above grade average, and
talk about it.
Basically, it was dope because it's a way to get kids, you know, from the inner city, give them an opportunity to get a higher education, to get them, to put them in better schools with more opportunities.
In LA.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I went to school in like K-Town. We grew up in like the Pico Union, Westlake area. And so the school I went to was just like an average LA school, and it's not the best, right? Yeah. And I get accepted into this magnet program, and then I end up getting bused to Brentwood Science Magnet. And a lot of notable people, I mean, and really, honestly, Odalys, I think the real value in that experience for myself was the exposure to all the different cultures. I was gonna ask you, and like, people.
I feel like all of us are in this little bubble.
100%.
Always. And then like you expand and you're like, oh, this is how the other side lives, or this is how the world looks like.
100%.
Which is why I love traveling so much. Because I'm like,
100%.
we're all like literally living a similar life in different places.
Yeah.
Like we're never alone in our human experience, no matter how different ours and like their life is in ours. We're all like human. Yeah. Flesh and bones, just trying to live life. Yeah. But tell me what that experience is like. Yeah. Seeing Brentwood, which I'm not familiar with it.
It's a really nice neighborhood in West LA. It's like west of like Beverly Hills, like getting towards the Palisades. It's a really nice neighborhood, very affluent, very like residential, like
not
kind
how
of
you
suburban.
Not how you're growing up.
I mean, the dichotomy is insane. Like it's so
Paint
polar
the picture
opposite.
of where you were growing up. For those that are not familiar.
Single, like 1 bedroom. I mean, grew up in a single. Like the 1 bedroom was the biggest upgrade with me, my mom, my brother's dad for a good amount of time. He was with us. And so my younger brother. And so
you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the 4 of us stuck, you know, when you're small, you don't recognize.
No, like space and time.
It's like, I was like, I knew that, you know, we weren't balling, but I never felt like I lacked anything. And I think what I'm really grateful for my mom is that all the things that I wanted, she always made me earn them. So she would always present them.
Her.
Yeah, she would always present things in a way where it was like, oh, si quieres el Nintendo, si quieres esto, necesito los grados, papi. Yeah. Like she would always like, so it was never like, I can't afford it. It was more like, yo, like you have to earn this. And I think it was really smart of her so that I don't remember growing up feeling poor. I don't ever remember feeling like I had less of, but I start going to her boss's houses. Until you're exposed. Exactly.
Until you're exposed to this side, you don't realize that abundance looks different in different places. Because our abundance, we had abundance.
100%.
It just wasn't monetary.
Yeah. It was love. It was family. It was compassion. It was, you know, spending time together, eating dinner together, like making memories, spending the holidays with your family and your cousins and running around and dancing and like all these things. It's funny because a lot of her bosses that come from, I mean, they're super multimillionaires in the Hollywood Hills. They would look at my mom and be like, yo, how'd you raise these kids? Because their kids were just on the opposite end of the spectrum, drugs, spoiled rotten, like all these things. And they would just wonder.
Well,
and my mom's like, yeah, well, love. You know what I mean? Love is the answer. If you love and you pour into your kids and you teach them how, you lead by example, which I think my mom did a great job, right? A lot of like my tenacity, my independence, which is something I take a lot of pride in, being an entrepreneur, right? Independent. It's like I get that from my mom. And so going to school in Brentwood, going to these mansions in the Hollywood Hills since I was a kid, right by anybody that knows Chateau Marmont, I was up in those hills all the time. Like when I had days off or I got off early, I would go with my mom, and like it was really fascinating seeing how other people lived, what their lives were like, how big their rooms are, the living rooms, their kitchens, how they did things, how they cooked, how they had dinner, how their families got together. And then the same with my friends in school. I had Russian, Persian, of course, a ton of black homies, like other Latinos, like Argentinians. Like I had friends from all over, the whole spectrum. And I got to see how their lives were, going to their birthday parties, going to their family events, and just like all that. I think going back to this idea of like feeling privileged, I feel like that's where I feel a lot of the responsibility and privilege, because I recognize that a lot of us that come from underrepresented neighborhoods that are first generation, it's like all we know is that 1 mile block radius, that block, a neighborhood we grew in, you know, that's it. And that's where I think a lot of us where unfortunately we get stuck because we don't know what we don't know. Right. So
all of this, you know, what's funny is I'm glad that you had that exposure so young, because I think it really does change like the way you think about opportunity.
100%.
And because it's tangible, right?
Yeah.
Like you're there and you're like, it's not that far away from me.
That
it's not
part.
that far away from me. I remember the reason we moved into like a middle class neighborhood was because we were going through homelessness, and then we ended up getting into this like 1 bedroom. There was like 9 of us living in it. Wow. 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. And I went to a different high school, middle class neighborhood. No te miento. It was the first time I was seeing like white people with me in school, and I thought I was in a movie. I was like, oh my god, this is like High School Musical. It was giving, but like I was going to school with all these different types of people, and I was like, I felt like a como le dicen,
Bay Area or San Diego?
San Diego.
Okay.
San Diego, so Southeast. And then high school, we moved into this different neighborhood, and I was like going to school with people who had education level was different. Like I was in classes getting C's and F's, and I'm like, I promise I'm not dumb, I just don't know this information. But it was the first time where I'm meeting people that were different than me. And it was like curiosity, but also a little bit of shame, a little bit of hiding.
Interesting.
And I think it was because I was comparing myself. Were you comparing yourself, or how were you like mentally in those moments where you're like seeing how different people live? Like, was there a comparison of how your situation was, or was it more of like, oh my god, like how did you get that? Or like, you know, was it more of an opportunity? I'm curious what you were thinking and how you were navigating that.
That's a great question. I definitely feel like I saw it as an opportunity. I saw it, you know, it's funny, I've been going to therapy for a few years now, five going on to 6 years. Shout out. Every therapist that I've had has been like, Daniel, one of your biggest traits is that you can learn from other people's mistakes. And what I saw was like, okay, what is everybody doing to get these things? What are other people doing to set themselves up for this life? Like what paths did they take? What are the common denominators, you know? And I remember vividly as a kid being like, man, I always hear these people talk about this job thing. I don't want to ever have a job. Like that sounds like no fun. Like it's such a vivid thought. Because
you don't want to have a job. You knew that.
I knew that from a kid because I would just hear everybody talking so negatively about job. No matter what the job was, they were just like, this, my job. And I remember being very little and being like, yo, I don't want one of those.
All right, y'all, we're going to take a quick break because support your girl if you want to keep listening to these conversations. I have shirts, Hella Latina, Hella Brown hats, Hella Brown anything that you want, and also have Hella Brown, Hella Worthy candles. 50% of the proceeds go to Chirla, an immigration rights organization.
I don't. And then lo and behold, I turned my passion in painting and design and visual communication and graphic design, all that, was my career that has led me now to being a creator and entrepreneur, right? And so all those experiences for me, I'm very grateful that I think, you know what it was? It's funny because there's this duality that happens with being Afro-Latino. And the world also is very ignorant, especially because I'm 38. Like, I grew up, 90s.
Oh, and they were like, Afro-Latino what?
Exactly. It was black or not black, right? And so everybody thought I was only black. Most people sometimes still only think I'm black. Once they say Ordóñez, they're like, maybe Puerto Rican, Dominican, people a little bit more woke, they get it now. But it was funny because, like, growing up, it was like outside, there was very much like, you have to pick. You have to choose sides. Like, what are you? Like, it was very
especially
much
in LA, especially on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's very, very like going back to the safety of putting people in boxes, right? The mindset that comes from knowing, okay, this person's here, cool, I get where they're from. But for me, I think because at home, the love, my family, I'm the oldest in my generation. So all my cousins, I'm the oldest out of all of them. And my cousin Roxana, she's like maybe 2-3 years younger than me. So I got everybody beat by a bit. Because I was the firstborn, I was like, I love everybody, but I was like the golden child. Like, they were
You're
like
the pioneer too.
Simba. Like, everything the light touches.
Not just saying I'm Simba, is giving Leo energy.
And Leo
it's
vibes.
Giving Leo energy.
But it was just like, they just showed me so much love. Like, all our dinners and parties, it would end up revolving around something with me. Like, the attention would go back to me because I'm the newest kid in the family, right? Everybody was like wanted to spend time with me and pour into me, and like, I feel so lucky for that.
Yeah.
So this idea of like having to choose and like all this nonsense that's happening outside of the home, I think that it never really affected me because of the love inside of my home. My mom poured so much. You're so special, mijo. Nobody's like you. You're going to be a very special person. Blah, blah, blah. Like, my mom brainwashed me when I was a kid. Like,
I love that.
she did such an amazing job of just like pouring into me and like making sure that I understood and was programmed to know that I was a one of one and not to ever think or worry about like, so I've never really had this mindset of like, comparison and like, what's this, like, it's always been like, yo, I am me, I am him, I'm gonna do what I need to do. Period. And like, yeah, and like life would eventually be a reflection of that, right? Like the things that I would do, the work ethic, the drive, the commitment, and it would reinforce that to me and be like, oh yeah, you are him. Focus on yourself, double down. Like, that's why I have so much conviction.
You're such a Leo. Such a Leo. I love it.
In the humblest way.
No, but yeah, 100%. And the thing is that you are also, and I said a pioneer, but I mean it. Like, I really do think you're a pioneer. And that's what the oldest sibling always has. And I'm the youngest. Mm-hmm. So I feel like my natural life has been comparison. Like, don't be like your sister or do this like your brother. Like,
that's such a good point. I never considered that.
And so I think like you seeing things as opportunity, like I see the oldest sibling, especially first generation, kid of an immigrant, you're the first one to really navigate a lot of these systems, the very first.
Absolutely.
And so it's almost like you don't have choice to compare because you're the first one to do it. Like, who are you going to compare yourself with? Like,
there's
it's
no
you.
like looking.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah.
Like, it's up to you in every way.
That's a great point.
You know what I mean? So I love that you have that mentality, and shout out to your mom.
And
like
MVP.
Shout out to our people that pour love into us, because my
100%.
parents are they made me Delulu too, like but you got to navigate life Delulu a little bit.
No, 1000%.
Yeah, but it's like bravery and delusion at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, life is tough, right? Life is really hard, and I think they realize that, and it's like, yo, let me put this battery in this kid's back. Let me love him. Let me pour into him. Let me make sure they understand that there's compassion and love behind them, because like they're going through it, like that's why I mean, I'm grateful. My mom isn't perfect by any means, like nobody is, but I think she did the best with what she had, right? And like, I love and appreciate her so much, because given the resources, given what was accessible at that time, she did everything that she could, you know what I mean? And that was a big motivator for me as an adult. Like, I remember being a kid and promising my mom that I was gonna get her those electric chairs that old people use. And be like, yo, mama, when you get old,
Stop.
I'm gonna get you one of these joints. Like, I remember that vividly. And she would always be like, do you remember telling me? And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I remember.
She's like, todavía hay tiempo.
Yeah, exactly. So
better invest now.
Yeah, so that's why I ended up getting into entrepreneurship.
I want to ask you about that because you said you're high school, being bused over to Brentwood, seeing this whole different side of the world.
Palisades by high school, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
got
elementary was that, but Palisades was high.
But you're just here in this whole different world, and you're navigating being the first pioneer. You know, like, I don't want a job. Like, how did you start to develop your career in entrepreneurship? How did you avoid the job front?
That's a great question. You know, this is where the first lesson in failure, air quote, I don't really believe in failure, but like, you know, things not working out, getting the data from that and learning from that.
The data.
That to me is the story I'm about to tell is the first iteration of that. And when I worked in my old career in tech and stuff, one of the things that they would say all the time is fail fast. Because when you hit walls, it shows you the gaps, right? Yeah. It shows you the things you need to be better at.
Yeah.
The entire time I was in elementary to before high school, school was always easy. Like, I didn't really have to apply myself. I was pretty smart. So it was like, I didn't really have to do a lot to get good grades. I always was an A student. My only note was talks too much. Nothing's changed. Like, like literally, like
on a podcast.
Right. I'm perfect for this. Podcast coming soon. But it was just
period.
Right. It's just it was just talks too much. Academically, I always excelled. But high school is a different ballpark, right? You're talking about learning new languages, learning chemistry, learning statistics, learning like things that are like completely disconnected from the foundations that you might have had from elementary education.
Right.
So when I was at Pali, I ended up getting kicked out. Like, my sophomore year, I had second semester of sophomore year, I had freshman credits. And mind you, my mom would wake up every day, 5 a.m, make me breakfast, and drive my ass to the bus stop just so I can get a better education from the 2nd grade till 10th grade. Nonstop, picking me up from the bus stop. Like, this is part of the sacrifices that she made as a mom, right?
Yeah.
She could have let me stay in the local school and I would have just been walking home, but she was like, no, I'm going to make sure my kid gets the best education.
Right.
So this is part of the sacrifices she made. I'll never forget that drive home when I got kicked out of Palisades and my mom crying in the car and me just looking at her and apologizing and just being like, it was I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. You know what I mean? That like, that hits, it hits home.
Yeah.
And I knew I dropped the ball. And when I got to Marshall, I mean, honestly, this was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I went from Palisades, where it was a very diverse school. Even though we were in the Palisades, they had the magnet program. So they had kids from all over LA getting bussed in. I had friends from everywhere, but also a ton of the white kids from Pali and rich Persian kids and Russians, and like, it was just very eclectic, and everybody had goals. Everybody had like things that they were aspiring for. Like, people there actually were trying to do something with their lives post high school, right? I went to Marshall, and respect to Marshall, but a lot of the cats there, a lot of cholos, a lot of drugs. I believe it or not, when I was in the Palisades, I didn't really see any drugs until I got to Marshall, and it was just like a lot of shit was going on in classrooms around, and I was like, this is not the life that I want. I don't want to, like, I'm better than, like, I want more for my life. So you're really
living in the in-between in all senses of identity and school. Like, wow.
It was really interesting because I got to see the privileges that I squandered. I got to see all the access that I had to good people, to these really cool environments. I was like, yo, like, I just gave that up. And so when I got to Marshall, it clicked. Everything clicked. I started going to summer school. I'm super athletic. All my PE teachers were like, yo, bro, you should be playing basketball, playing football, running track. You should be doing all that. I didn't do anything, just so that I can, after school, I can go to a community college and catch up on grades. I sacrificed all like extracurricular things so that I can get back on the ball. And I also started working. And so Marshall for me was super transformative, because it's really where I got my discipline and my work ethic. And I really got to set the first major goal in my life that I set for myself. I was like, yo, I'm going to graduate on time, because to me, being a super senior was lame.
Yeah.
So like, no shade. But I was just like, yo,
You
like,
said, I don't want to be lame.
I don't want to be the 18-year-old with the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just like, yo, and then the rest is history. Like from that point on, it was like one victory after another. I stumbled on graphic design through that journey. My first computer came with Photoshop. That was at 15. Senior year, I'm doing graphic design at home, getting really
like
nasty
for fun.
Flyers, doing love letters for my little novia, like just like cool, interesting. Yeah. And so I'm just doing all these things, just creative, just expressing myself. Had no clue that this is something you could do for a living. Senior year,
you don't know what you don't know. Being first gen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so my teacher, I'll never forget my first graphic design class, my senior year, it was a black dude. And he was a part-time teacher, and he also had a screen printing business. Oh. And when I was in class, he was always coming. I would see he was like paying attention. He was like, yo, bro, you're nice. Like, you're really good. Like, you could actually make a career. And I remember that was the first time that the dots connected.
Takes one person, man.
I could not agree more. 1,000%.
Takes one person to just see you.
To point at you and look, especially somebody that looks like you.
I was gonna say, how did that identity?
Yeah.
Like, it means a lot.
Being somebody of color that looked like me, being like, yo, mind you, I have no father figure. So having this man come and be like, hey, like, you're good at this, you have an opportunity. I was like, huh. And so after that, instead of going to the local community college, I knew that SMC in Santa Monica College, had a better transfer rate. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take my ass back to the West Side. Even though I lived in LA, I started driving every day over an hour to go to SMC, made the sacrifice, because I knew the value of what those schools did, right? I already saw what they offered. And from SMC, my teachers, they're like, yo, bro, you're nasty. Just focus. Focus on your craft. Focus on what you're doing. And mind you, some of them were at UCLA already. So I go from getting kicked out of UCLA to eventually getting into, I got kicked out of Palisades to eventually getting accepted to UCLA.
Wait, you got kicked out of UCLA?
No, I'm sorry.
Palisades. Okay.
Yeah. Coffee hasn't kicked in yet. But I get accepted into UCLA. And I'm just like, so I went from like hitting my first milestone goal of graduating on time, then going to this community college and being like, I want to go to a UC or a private. I don't want to go to a Cal. I want to go to something more prestigious. I get in. After that, it was a wrap. Like, the battery on my back was just like, bro, like, you got it. Like, you, like, just focus. Whatever you want, just focus. Yeah. And then that would just lead me to, you know, having a great career. I would get accepted. When I was at UCLA, I was pre-law. And that was an interesting experience because I got to learn a lot about psychology, history.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did you go from graphic design to evolutionary
psychology
and all that? Like, what was, I'm trying to connect that.
So when I got into school, my counselors were like, I mean, they were doing best intentions. They wanted me to get a good career, right? They wanted to offer me a path that was going to lead me to success. The design program, like, some of the professors there were like world-renowned designers. Just to give you an example, when we were, like, if I was in a history or a sociology class, there sometimes would be anywhere from 100 to like 150 students in a class. They were like massive auditoriums versus the design class, it was like 15, maybe 18 students. It was much more impacted, much more personal, much more intimate, much like, it was just a very different experience, and it was very technical and conceptual. So I got to learn from like the technical skills, also from like thinking about things from like a conceptual level, right?
Right.
And it was design media arts. So I got to do motion graphics / animation, video design, sound design, programming. I got to really run the gamut on like creating with visual communications. And so like, you fast forward to where I'm at now, it's like all those skills have leaned into the world we live in. And
everything is so connected.
Creating.
Everything that we do is connected.
100%.
And it's like leading us to the next spot every single time. How, I want to know the connection between how you study psychology and like pre-law. Like, how did all those mesh together?
Well, when I was pre-law, I was taking a lot of psychology, history, a bunch of those classes under that like curriculum, right?
Right.
But I was always sneaking off and doing electives in the design program.
So you wanted something that was stability. You are just like, This is the thing that I love about being first gen is that we know how to navigate the in between.
Oh, for sure.
And we do it seamlessly. It's like we're always like in this equilibrium of like stability, passion, like stability, like purpose, you know, like money, but also impact. Like we
1000%.
have this, like, we just walk this balance.
Well, I think when you look at the spectrum across a lot of first gen, it doesn't matter what immigrant background, the work ethic, everything you're talking about is so spot on, because I think we understand the responsibility at stake. We understand what our families did. We understand what we represent for the people that came before us. Absolutely. And so we want to make them proud. Absolutely. And like, I don't think that everybody's meant to be Bill Gates and Elon and build these major companies.
And
but
everyone
it's like,
wants to.
And not everybody wants to. And that's 1000% okay.
Yeah.
But I think that as long as you're doing something with purpose and with intention, and where you know that you're doing something to give back to your people, the people around you, to do something that's fulfilling, right? I think that's what matters at the end of the day. And so when I was in school, it was just like, I don't know, something was just telling me like, yo, like, you're going to be fine. Like, do design, go in all the way. And I ended up getting into the program, and then the rest was history. Like, I ended up getting internship and then job, and then went from ad agencies to marketing agencies to tech companies to working for like freelance, like on the client side, on the brand side. Like, I've worked with Nike, Apple, Google, the World Cup, Hennessy, Snapchat. Like, I ran the gamut. It was such a dope experience. And you know what was the most powerful part is in a lot of those rooms, I was the only person of color, a majority of the time. And for me, it was a superpower. And I knew it. I recognized it in a lot of places because I knew from very early on. I always knew we had the sauce. You know what I mean? Like, it's a given. Everything that is cool comes from people of color. That's where the origin comes from, right? And so our sazon, our flavor, our swagger, our style, it's like it always comes from people that make the most out of the least, right? And so for me, it was like, okay, I'm navigating these spaces in corporate America for my clients and all this stuff. And it's just like, all those things just gave me more and more confidence, more and more ability to bet on myself. Me selling my ideas to executives, to leaders of companies, to CMOs, to CEOs, like sitting across the table. It's like, yo, like, that's why at this point, I'm not intimidated by anybody or anything, because it's like all those parts of my career gave me the backbone and the stability, along with the things I was doing before, to really understand that it's like, as long as you're doing the work, and you're focused in pouring into yourself, like, you can navigate anything. You know what I mean?
1000%. Did you ever have a moment where you didn't feel like it was a superpower, where you felt like you had to dilute yourself or dilute your culture, identity, swag? Like, was there ever a moment, or did you always just kind of like go in with like, y'all are gonna see me, miss me with assimilation? I think,
I think there's like, I'm not gonna talk to, at the time, my superiors the way I talk to you, right? Or to Matrix, or to my people, right? Like, it's just not, it's not gonna go that way. There's a level of professional etiquette, and professionalism that you have in these settings. So I feel like in that capacity, I definitely toned myself down, like make sure that I was walking the line and being professional, right? But it's like, even now, like even with my business, when I go set up partnerships or meetings, it's like, I don't put on a suit, but when I go in, I'm making sure that I'm respectful, I'm professional, I'm dressing like myself, you know what I mean? Like, I feel comfortable in my skin, but I recognize that this setting requires a different air of communication. Because the reality is that I also know that it's human nature to prejudge. People see you and they assume, right? Yeah. They put you in their boxes.
And you've probably dealt with that your whole life, being 100%. On the West Side, being Afro-Latino.
100%. Yeah. So it's just like, okay, cool. I'm going into this room. This is what people might think. It's never really a conscious thing for me, but it's just like, I know that when I go into certain meetings, when I go into these meetings, I have to, be professional. I have to carry myself a certain way. Once you break the ice and you recognize that these people are humans, they're just like you. They're especially if they're other people of color, it's just like, yo, you can shoot the shit. You can relax a little bit, because it's like, okay, cool. Like, we understand each other. But I think that there's always a level of like, even think about dating, Think about a lot of spaces. You come in with your best foot forward.
I was going to say one thing I appreciate from what you said, and I'll challenge you. I don't think it's professionalism. I think it's just like a different layer to Daniel. Yeah. You know, like I think we carry many layers. I like struggle with this idea of authenticity looks one dimensional because we are so expansive as humans. Like we are not one dimensional. So it's not you like putting on a front or doing anything different. It's just you being another layer of Daniel. Yeah. Because you're still dressing like you. You're not changing the fundamental parts of you. You're just kind of like, okay, I'm going to speak your language so that you can understand me. But I'm going to still show up with my swag. I'm going to still show up with all of my colors.
Oh, yeah. All my energy.
Yeah, all my energy. And you still going to see me. Yeah. But you're going to see another side of me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the human experience is about. It's multidimensional. We have so much to offer.
I couldn't agree more. It's funny. I was just on a call with Air One. We're like talking about partnership opportunities and like chick is like, and it's a common denominator. It happens all the time. You're so passionate about what you're doing. And I'm just like, yeah, cause it's me. You know what I mean? Like going back to your point, it's like the things that I'm doing in my life. I think any good business leader, operator, owner, their business is an extension of themselves. Absolutely. Just like you running this podcast, like it's no effort for you. It's like you're just going off of what feels right. It's flow. Yeah, and it's like it's so you because it's like it's tied to your identity, and I think that's where I challenge people all the time to not think about humans so like in boxes. Yeah, like think about my business model. It's a barbershop, a boutique, and a gallery. My point is like, think about me, like a biracial LA native who skated and played basketball and video games, but was always super swaggy and best dressed. And like I did a lot of things. Like I never felt that I had to minimize myself. You know what I mean? But going back to the MVP, I think a lot of that is because of my mom. I think a lot of that going back is because of the love at home that gave me the self-esteem. That gave me the ability to feel great about myself and not question or second guess the things I was doing and just be like, yo, you're you. Do whatever you looks like. And that's something I'm super grateful for. My mom never pushed, go be a doctor, go be this. Whatever I was doing, as long as I was staying out of trouble and like I was on my P's and Q's, like she was super cool about it. But like by the time I was in high school, after the whole kicked out of school, I had a job. I got my license. I was hyper independent, so she never really had to hold my hand. Yeah. Like I already was on a rocket ship that I'm still on right now. Yeah. But
tell me how Saints came about. Like what was the driving force? What was the purpose? What was the why behind creating that space? And what is that space for those that don't know?
So Saints is man, there's so many layers to this question. But the best way to put it, it's a concept store and lifestyle brand. The core and ethos of what we do is just helping men and some women, of course, but men particularly, because I feel like that's a space that needs like the most support in this context, is look and feel their best. We make our community, we pour into our community in different ways, from how they look to how they feel to the products that they're using, their style, their aesthetic. Like when you think about your hair, it has so much to do with your appearance. And we know how much your appearance has to do with your confidence and your self-esteem, right? It's everything. So we invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, a year on like products and experiences and things so that we can, the glow up, right? And so I wanted to have a space that was safe for all ethnic groups, that really geared to empowering and giving services, products, and experiences to men that was high level, from the grooming to our clothing to skincare to hair products to soon like sneakers to like all these things. So it's like it's a one-stop shop. But
people dripping swagoo, that's what you want.
Exactly. End of the day, it's like I selfishly built the business for myself too, because
oh my God, you are literally like in my brain, because my next question was that oftentimes we build things that we wish we had when we were younger, 100%. Or things that we want.
Missing. Yeah,
that's missing.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask, what was that driving force?
I think a lot of great founders start with that pain point. You're solving a problem. Yeah. So like in one of the verticals, when it comes to hair, right, the barbering side of the business, barbershops generally are very segregated, meaning that a lot of times if a barber knows how to fade really well, that probably means he's Black or Latino. That probably means he lives around a lot of other Black and Latinos, which probably means he doesn't get to practice on other hair textures, meaning he could only cut that group of people. So if you're non-Black, not like if you have straight hair, like you have to go to a men's salon or somewhere else. And so those guys aren't the best at fading. They're great with the shears. They're great at like styling and all that, but they can't fade because it's just like, it's two different worlds. And so like when I was growing up, it's like I can go to a place to get a great fade, but the barber sometimes wouldn't know how to cut my hair texture. Curly hair, so it's like the scissor work was, they just couldn't really do it. So sometimes I would have to go to two different places. So I was like, you know what? Let's build a space and a brand and a business model that'll help solve that, where we can operate at a high level, like premium services, but the standard is across all hair types, all ethnicities, all ages. Like it's all encompassing. Because like if I go to any, like no person of color is gonna go to Fantastic Sam's, Supercuts, or even Floyd's. Like they'll fuck my shit
Absolutely
up.
not.
That's a no-no. And
No,
so
no.
it's like, and it's funny because we get a ton of those people that come to our business that are like, yo, they fucked my shit up. I'm like, yeah, bro. It's like
No
you
wonder.
get what you pay for. Yeah. But it's like I wanted to build a space that was all inclusive, that is gonna help bridge the gap on like how we can make a space for us. But like it's anybody can come in there. It doesn't matter what ethnic group you are, because my team is skilled. And then also with the apparel and also with the shoes and all that, everything is curated in a way where it's like it's done with high taste. It's like a premium space. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's been incredible. And then on the other end of that, of course, comes the impact, right? Purpose. Like what are you doing? I don't say this like it's not on our marketing collateral. It's not anything, but all our team members, my business has been open for 7 years. Every single person that's worked at Saints has been a person of color, a minority in some capacity. Some like minority group, right? LGBTQ, Latino, Black. Yeah.
Right.
Because for me, it's about empowering our people. I recognize there's a ton of people of color that are in neighborhoods that may not give them the most accessibility, but they have the skills or they're on their way to work in a space like Saints, right? And so there's cats that have worked at my place, like young barbers and stuff, that in their early 20s, making close to $200,000 a year. No college degree, no like MBA, high level degree.
Wow.
And they're feeding their families, sending money to Mexico, sending money back to their people, all through my business, right? And it's like, they earn that, of course, but I feel really, really grateful that I've been able to create this space to allow those opportunities, right? And like, for me, it's like, I wanted to build it in a space also where there's not a ton of us,
I was gonna say, what's the feel good part for me is also deep. It's not just like feeling good with your confidence, but like on a inner level, like internal. One thing that, correct me if I'm wrong, I look at barbershops like a man's therapy. Like, cause men be like, they be loving their barbers. Oh my God, they be loving their barbers. But I feel it because I'm like, my hair girl, my nail girl, like
you're
they
super loyal to the soil.
They besties.
Oh yeah.
So like, what's the other impact that you maybe didn't plan for that you were like, this can be something more?
Yeah, it's that's a great segue. I feel like as I've evolved as a man, right? I've been doing therapy for years. I've been thinking about what are other ways that I can pour into myself, make sure that I'm keeping my cup full, right? Meditation, breath work, sound baths, like all these different like modalities and whatnot. Like I've realized that for me, going to the barbershop is such a peaceful experience. I'm a sleeper. Like a lot of times I'll be there, talk, blah, blah, and I'll just knock out because it's so relaxing sometimes. Sometimes I'm yapping, but sometimes I'm like, especially when they put the hot towel, just it's such a tranquil experience. And for me, it's one of the very few times that I get to completely, like, it's hard to be like this when my barber's like, yo, put your chin up, like go like this, go like this. It's hard. Right. So it just forces me to stop and just chill for a bit. And I realized that it's something really like fulfilling for me. And
it's
therapeutic. Yeah. And I thought about the context of like, yo, for a lot of dudes, going back to the loyalty, right? Their barber is also the closest thing to a therapist. Like they like they're getting their graduation haircut. Then they're getting their haircut when they're graduating from the university.
Yeah.
Then they're getting their haircut for their engagement when they're about to go propose.
Milestones.
Then, their barber's right there through their whole life, side by side.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know barbers that have been at weddings, many, because it's like they're so part of the life of their clients that for me, it's like, yo, like how invested are my clients in my community in their self-care? Like, are they holistically thinking this way? And I feel like that's the void that I kind of stumbled on, right? It wasn't like, I didn't think of this from the inception of Saints, but like, as I grew myself personally, I started to see that there's a void that we're filling. And so now it's like, I've really leaned into this concept of wellness, like through my space. And so that's allowed me to start creating some really cool partnerships with Equinox and Open, which is like a wellness studio in Venice. They do meditation and breath work, and they have a really dope app. I'm super cool with them. And then the Hive, which is a therapy practice. So like all my clients, when they come to Saints, they all get access to our S3 initiatives. And it's just a way for us to introduce our community to new ways of thinking of self-care. Okay, you came in for a service today, and this was a way that you took care of yourself. Maybe you never thought about it in the context of self-care, but it really is that, right? What are other ways that you can show up for yourself? Well, here's, some thoughts. Here's some ways that you can execute this. And so...
And you're normalizing it for the community.
100%.
I mean, I grew up with a lot of brothers, a lot of men in the house. And to this day, I have like one of my brothers has 5 kids that are all boys. Like... My family got a lot of boys. And I always say Black and brown boys need so much love. I agree. And I've never bought into this idea of like, men ain't like, they ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just don't buy into that because I'm like, our men need a lot of love. I agree. And care. I agree. They need people like your mom to say like, I see you. You're talented. You are so good at what you do. You're... give them that little delusion that they can go into the world and they can be amazing. Yeah. And that they have someone to talk to.
I couldn't agree more.
And
Speak
so you're making
life into them.
Yeah, and you're doing that. Yeah. You're doing it.
It's I think.
And then it's also a thing in our community where they don't want to go to therapy. Oh, and it's like, oh no, therapy's not. No, I don't do that. So you're creating a space that's accessible.
It's wild. So for our 7-year anniversary, I wanted to create a really cool experience around all of this. So I got Equinox to do a class for us inside of Saints. Nike partnered. They gave us a bunch of products and gifts to give our people.
Love that.
But it was like over 20 men. And the amazing Tiffany from Sueños, she crushed it. To Tiffany. She did her thing. She led our class. And it was incredible. Every dude in there, a lot of them, it was their first time doing a stretch yoga. But every dude, it was their first time doing a sound bath. All of them, I mean, I would say probably 90% people of color in the room. Wow. And even though our space is like almost an even split between white and non-white and everything, it was just like, I was just so proud that I got men to experience this, right? Yeah. I got men to get out of their comfort zone. And for all of them, they were just like, this is new, but because you're introducing it this way, I want to try it. And that really encouraged me to continue with our expansion of the event was called Soma, which the Greek word for body. And so,
the intentionality.
100%. And so Soma is going to be a series where we continue doing more in-person like activations around wellness for men in different modalities so that I could introduce these things to men. Because to your point, for some guys, it's like, it's weird to talk about this stuff. And it's like, and I don't blame them because we live in a society where all this stuff is, suppressed. Like we're taught to stand up with our chests and not to cry and not show vulnerability and not be weak in front of other people. And I feel the opposite. I feel like when you are vulnerable, it takes strength. When you do cry, it shows your ability to express your feelings when it's like the most authentic version of yourself, which to me takes courage, right? Yeah. And so it's like I'm leg pressing over 1,000 pounds in the gym and I'm lifting crazy weight, but the real strength for me is in my emotional intelligence. Like the way I can condone myself and carry myself and not be
emotional
affected.
agency.
100%.
Knowing how to respond.
100%. Not letting the world around dictate how I feel. Right. Like that to me is a superpower. Yeah. And it's like I got there because of the work I was doing. Because all the things, all the modalities, the meditation, the breath work, the journaling, all the the therapy, all these things that I've done have helped, and not to mention faith. Like, I'd be remiss if I missed this whole combo without God. Like, having that
Amen.
superpower, that life force that you're tapped into. I feel bulletproof. Like, I feel like nothing can stop me, because it's just like, yo, like, I have all these things working in my favor. You know what I mean? Like, I've aligned myself in a way now where it's just like, of course there's high and low days. Like, I recognize when I'm not operating in my best, but I don't let those moments define me. And I also don't let them control.
You learn.
Yeah. I learned, but I'm also like, yeah, it's just today. Tomorrow's another day. The rest of the days also.
You know what that is? It's grace. Is knowing that we can't be superhuman. Like, knowing, man, I be having my days where I'm like, today's just not my day.
Yeah.
And on to the next.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
that's where, like, thank you for mentioning God, because I think he is at the center of at least, like, my life. And it sounds like yours as well. And one thing that my mom used to always say, she would always wake up and say, gracias a Dios, bendito Dios. Amen. Like, she would always say that.
Yeah.
And one day she tells me, like, just the fact that we were able to wake up and breathe, take a breath, that's God. Like, bendito Dios. And I feel like that is my gratitude. Like, life is hard. The systems that we're navigating is hard.
Yeah.
The world is hard.
Yeah.
But the fact that we get to wake up and take a breath, have a bad day, it is like God saying, like, there it is, tu chance, tu oportunidad. Like, what are you going to do with it? And sometimes I'm not going to do a lot with it. Sometimes I just want to lay down, no hacer nada, because I'm just not having a good day. And that's okay.
And that's 100%
It's grace.
fine.
It's grace, and knowing that you get to choose. You have the power of choice in how you want to spend that day.
Yeah. It's I feel like it's definitely a superpower to operate with that level of self-awareness, because it then allows you to navigate and understand that, like, things are going to be fine. Yeah. Like, even when I catch myself in moments that aren't the highest for myself, I'm just like, bro, it's cool.
You don't live there.
I don't live there. Exactly. I'm just like, this is all in passing. The number of days that are positive over the days that weigh heavier, just like, it's such a disparity. All these things, these are the things that I want to share with my community, right? Yeah. These are the things that I want to give to people, because, to your point, it's hard, especially for us as people of color.
What's been the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur? And what's been the part that you think is not seamless, but a flow?
The hardest part, I would say, is you don't know what you don't know.
Which you're used to.
But yeah, exactly. It's like,
that's a superpower.
You can't leave any stone unturned. You have to really look through and like, okay, check, make sure you're and understand that you can learn from anything, anybody, anywhere. Because one decision, one perspective, one point of view can get you to think about your business in a different way that can change everything. Yeah. Some of my biggest lessons came from ideas and concepts that I was super against, and they ended up working in my favor. Wow. And so it's like, you cannot be so fixated on, like, the way that you've decided, because this is the thing, like, business, I would say, is it's a very tough thing to traverse. It's a very tough journey. But the world, the market, the things that are happening around us, they're going to give us the data, right? Like, when you're moving and doing whatever service, business, experience you're putting out into the world, it's going to let you know if it's working. Yeah. And when it's not working, that means you have to rethink things. You have to look at it and be very objective. And it's also a very strong tool for personal development, because like, it's not for the weak. Like, to be an entrepreneur, you have to have very thick skin.
7 years. 7 years you've been doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. And you have to have very good emotional intelligence. You can never, one of the last things you could ever do is react emotionally. Whether it's a client, whether it's an employee, whether it's a vendor, no matter what the situation, you can never be reactive. You have to always be composed, poised, and like process think before you make any decisions, because you responding a certain way could get you a bad review. It can get you fired. It can get and make you lose this contract you have with a vendor or a company. Right. So it's like, you have to be very, very attuned with who you are. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost, because it's like, they go into business with a lot of passion and heart, which is incredible, but there's not the accountability. The self-awareness is missing.
Oh, that's a lot with life. Yeah. There's a lot of people who don't have accountability. Yeah. Don't know how to. Yeah. Emotional agency, accountability.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. Missing. Yeah. A lot of people. Yeah. Oh, there's so many questions I want to ask you. I want to ask you as we wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
How are you challenging masculinity in the way that it is taught in Black and Brown communities and Latino communities? How are you challenging that? But what's one thing that you're keeping? Where's the strength and where's the opportunity, to put it in business terms?
I think the thing I'm keeping without a doubt is the swagger, sazon, confidence, like energy, you know, that we have, the feeling of like that
looking
we
good,
can
feeling
be,
good.
yeah, that we can be ourselves when we do things, you know what I mean? Like even in being vulnerable, you can talk about, you don't have to sound soft when you're talking about your feelings or your emotions, you know what I mean? Like you can say it with some bass in your chest. Like it isn't like, you don't have to be somebody else to express yourself. You can be yourself and express yourself. You can be, it's just about being open and talking about things in a way where you're peeling the layers back, and you're talking through the lens of like, okay, like this is how I'm feeling, or this is how you're making me feel, right? And in therapy, they talk about like the I, like this is making me, I feel this way when you do this, with like better communication skills.
That
so
makes
it's like,
the I makes all the difference.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So it's like, but it's like, I think that men are incredibly powerful and needed in the world. But I think there more strides could be like executed and done if we operated with more empathy, with more vulnerability, with more understanding, with more openness, because I think we're all fighting a fight. And I think everybody, a lot of dudes are just out here like this, you know, pecs out. And it's like, bro, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like you can breathe. Like, I see you. We're going through the same shit, you know, like it's going to be fine. But I think that idea of like vulnerability, like I'm a very, like, it's funny because even before I got with my girlfriend, like in the dating space, it was always like, yo, you spill all the beans. Like you just telling me everything. And I'm like, because I am so unapologetically myself.
Right.
I talk to people I'm just meeting about, I was in therapy, or I was doing this breathwork thing, or I was journaling the other day about this, or I just did a fast for 24 hours, or blah, blah.
You make it
like,
normal.
100%, because that's what I think it should be. It shouldn't be something that we're hiding or we're putting behind us. I think we should be proud of the things that we do to take care of ourselves. Just like you're proud of that Benz that you're driving, or you're proud of that Gucci bag. Like, be proud of the things you're doing to pour into yourself, because ultimately those are the things that matter more. You know what I mean? Like, there's way more purpose and intention in that. And I'm way more impressed by that than the flexing and all that. Like, that to me is like,
because the flexing for the material things is just for me, it's a projection of insecurity.
1,000%.
You're trying to overcompensate for something that's missing on the inside.
1,000%.
And you know what's known don't gotta be said.
100%.
You know?
I battle with this. I'm from the cloth of real G's move in silence.
That's what I'm saying. What's known don't gotta be said.
Yeah. There's a lot of fly, cool shit I do that I never post about, that I never share, that I only experience with the people that I experience. And it's like, it's interesting navigating in this space where it's like, you know, we're presenting ourselves online in a way so that we can draw, build, inspire community. But it's like, I want people to recognize me and respect me for the man that I am, not the things that I have.
I have 2 more questions for you, and I really want to ask you this. If you could talk to your younger self, the one that is navigating the duality, the in-between, biracialness in LA, what would you tell him?
I would say keep being yourself unapologetically, and start a Roth IRA and put some money in the market at that age, and learn about compound investing. But yeah, just you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. Just be yourself. Like, being yourself is the best superpower I think you can be. And I think when you're in that space, I think a lot of people are too busy out chasing bags and things. And it's like, when you can find who you are, what are the things that motivate you, and then become really good at those things, the world will come to you. Amen. I did that in my first career when I was in the design, creative direction, art direction space. I became really good, and then opportunities exploded. The abundance was there. And then now with my business, it's happening too, where in the beginning it was like, now we're because I've put in the work. I've become a better entrepreneur, business leader. I understand systems and I understand how to scale companies. So it's like, I think like just pour into whatever you're doing 100% authentically.
And what do you want to manifest for our Latino community? Our first gen community?
That we will be the first generation to break any financial, spiritual, economic, emotional barriers. That we're going to be the first gen to just like open the door to new ways to love and give and create opportunity for the next generations, because I understood the struggle my mom went through raising me. And it's like, when I have my wife and my kids, it's like, I don't want them to go through that. I want my wife to be able to chill. I want, life is a lot easier when you have resources, right? It's like, you're able to operate a little bit more, like balanced. And so when you're always like looking for it, it's just like, reactiveness versus proactiveness. And it's like, I want our next generation to be like proactive in everything we do. Everything.
Amen to that. Amen. Mic drop. Thank you. Thank you for being on here.